Vikings fan, need a little bit of a pick-me-up this morning, tweet us at #GMFB. But let's now dissect all of the action from Championship Sunday with a little game that we call
Name That Team.
Yes, thank you. Everybody, a category, and each of you grab a paddle, hold up the team that you best think corresponds to that category. So first up, we saw plenty of action yesterday, but which Championship Sunday team, which one of the four had you just like on the edge of your seat, losing years after the end of your life sort of vibes?
I'm going right out the gate with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
Because when they got the lead, I thought to myself, there's no way I picked these guys correctly. Because even though I went out there on the edge and said, the Jags are going to get this game, them jumping out so fast, I said, really? Could this be another Pittsburgh Steelers game? And then the third quarter came, fourth quarter came. And the game got so good. I was on the edge of my seat, as if I was watching the M. Night Shyamalan movie. So I'm going with Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'll jump on that, too. There's so many stakes involved. You know, the Vikings and the Eagles are great teams and everything, but it's just with these guys, it's history. There's something generational going on. So when you're watching the game, if you're like, I remember in 2018 when the Jaguars knocked off the Patriots, it was shocking.
Right.
There's an I'm going to tell my kids about it factor always with this team. So I was nervous as hell, and as always, they won.
Edge of my seat, I would say it was the Eagles because there was this long build-up all week. They didn't play since last Saturday, and then they had this late 7 o'clock start, and it was this whole feeling of, are they going to come? And they were down 7-0.
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh,
Yeah. Look out.
I feel bad for these Eagles fans. You know, and the Vikings' first drive was incredible, but then they piled it on, 38 straight points. In the second half, it is so rare in competitive sports to not only enjoy a victory as a fan, but to have a party while doing so. It was never in doubt, and those Eagles fans were dancing in the street, so the Eagles had me on the edge of my seat.
And the post-game, it was the best. What they were doing in the post-game was great. All right, next topic. Not too many people predicted 3 of these 4 teams would make it this deep into the playoffs. So which team, I don't know if I should use the word proud, like who impressed you the most? Who are you most proud of these squads?
Okay.
I'll go first here. I got to say these young Jaguars because we adopted them early on in our show. Now, look, there's a lot of other football programs. We like to represent all 32 teams. But I remember having Telvin Smith on in about week 2 or week 3. And then we had, some other players on from the Jaguars. Like, we kind of like this team.
Doug Marrone came
like
on.
Doug Marrone was one of the only head coaches to join us. The mayor, Lenny Curry. We got on this bandwagon early. I almost felt like they were our ceremonial team, and I almost feel like I'm proud of those guys. They showed up for us.
I'll jump in, too, on the Jaguars. And the personality we love, the football reasons. Last year, this was a 3-13 team. All right, this year, they got a quarterback controversy in training camp. They're a 500 team. They're 2-2. They lose to the Titans. They lose to the Jets in overtime. What they accomplished to be up in the fourth quarter against the New England Patriots on the road, I don't care if they have any sound bites. I don't care if they do the shoulder shrugs or not. They're good football teams. I'm as proud as them.
Yeah, I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings because if you're looking at their story and if it was a movie, it would be a tragedy. And that's how it started. There was all these procedures happening and guys getting hurt and your starters going down. And they just battled and battled and battled. And for this to be my former team, I was proud of them. And I was proud of them last week. And even yesterday, they were getting the doors blown off them. And they fought. They fought. I remember after Thielen bobbled that ball and he thought it was a touchdown, they were celebrating like we got a chance. There was 8 minutes left and you're getting rocked. So shout out to the Vikings fans and shout out for them coming out to Philly. It was a rough year, but hopefully you guys will bounce back and remain healthy.
Crazy turnaround. Now, Aaron Rodgers will be back next year, so that's rough. But this team won 3 games last year, and they went to the AFC Championship. Wildly impressive. What a comeback. All right, finally, we saw some impressive and memorable performances in both games yesterday, but which team gave you that one play where you're just always going to kick it back and remember that? It's in the Rolodex.
I'm going with Mr. Danny Amendola, or as I like to call him, Danny Amendola. He had a few plays this game, a handful that actually changed the game, but it's this one right here, back in the end zone, of course. I'm sitting here at the set of CBS, and everybody starts yelling, "Toe drag swag!" So I didn't even have to say it, and people online, thank you for tweeting me. They were hashtagging it, but the fact that he goes up, catches it, and then dots the eye with that left foot, I mean, he played so big. Danny, I'm not sure if anybody's ever met him, but he's standing about 5'8". He's maybe a $185, and I could be way off on those, but I'm not too far off. But he played like 6'6", 270, and he was an absolute monster, and quite frankly, the word unstoppable applies to Danny Amendola yesterday. My MVP in the AFC Championship game.
Could that win Toe Drag Swag of the Year?
No.
It could be. It could be.
Patriots Instagram calls him Danny Playoffs. You know what you got to do for that organization to get the playoffs nickname there in every single year? I'll go quickly. Patrick Robinson, this defensive back on the Eagles, changed the entire game. If you don't know him, it's his first year with Philadelphia, first round pick of the Saints back in 2010, and he had this quote before the game. He said, "If I get a pick, I am not running out of bounds." He easily could have got out of bounds or made a big play and celebrated. Said, "No, I'm going to run 50 yards across the field and house this thing. The Eagles secondary has been beleaguered. They've taken their lumps. So they say they're the weak spot. No. This guy made a massive play. P-Rob, as they say, he was P-Rob-lematic. That's them.
I love
That's
that.
my guy.
Chris Long's arm, just
Yes.
tattoos flying at your face.
I'm going to go with just the pure artistry of Stephon Gilmore's defensive back play and the play of the game with everything on it. It's Gilmore who's the big free agent signing, and just look at how graceful it is to not have a pass interference on this, to not claw over the left shoulder
what they always do,
of the
Trey.
receiver, to have the peace and straightness of mind to say, you know what, I'm going to do. This was like a Vince Carter dunk, a Dr. J windmill.
Right.
It was pure beauty, and that is why you pay him the huge money in
So
March,
good.
because you're hoping come late January he's going to make it worth it, and that play alone, he's worth every penny.
Muscle memory causes DBs to wrap their hands around the hip. It's almost like he put his left hand in his pocket. It was like, I'm not going to PI, but I'm going to get my hands in there. It was so beautiful. It's a great play.
Plenty more to come here on Good Morning Football. Tom Brady and Danny Amendola connected for the touchdowns, 2 of them, in fact, late in the game. Was their effort strong enough to warrant championship weekend MVP consideration? We'll let you know as GMFB continues live in New York City.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback,